Have you ever heard the phrase, money is no object? It can seem insane, especially within the context of the games industry, where tens, even hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on development year in and year out. When is enough ever really enough? If you're working at Rockstar, it probably doesn't even constitute the beginning. In case it wasn't obvious, we're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, the once and future king of all open-world games, the magnum opus, the game to end all games, and which everyone is trying desperately to avoid. Surprised about Halo Campaign Evolve could launch before September, while Marvel's Wolverine is launching halfway through? Such is the power of Rockstar Games and the Grand Theft Auto name.
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Seriously, dude, you got some time on your hands. I got some properties with paying tenants.
No one wants their release to go figuratively toe-to-toe with Grand Theft Auto 6, much less hang around in the same vicinity. Because when you spend as much as Rockstar North reportedly has on employee wages alone, you can afford the breathing room. Recently, fans discovered just how much that may be through public records maintained by the UK government agency Companies House. Registered as Rockstar Games UK Limited, these outline wages and salaries from March 31st of 2019 to March 31st of 2025. Remember when Take-Two said development began in earnest around 2020? Rockstar North reportedly spent 191 million euros from 2019 to 2020, about 252.6 million in what we can assume was pre-production alone. Consider for a moment that Cyberpunk 2077, currently the 7th most expensive game ever made, spent roughly 526 million across all versions, marketing included, when adjusted for inflation in 2025. Let's continue. As production seemingly started rolling, costs increased gradually from March of 2020 to 2021, with 223 million euros spent, and then far more from 2021 to 2022, with 346 million spent. And while that marked the most expensive period of development per these records, the next 2 years would see the developer spend 316 million and 315 million. Its latest report from March 31st of 2024 to the same date in 2025 indicates 282 million spent on salaries. Of course, we already know that Grand Theft Auto 6 got delayed. Twice, in fact, and Rockstar has yet to reveal how much was spent from 2025 to 2026, never mind the other 9 months leading up to its launch. However, if you calculate the current amount reportedly spent on employee wages alone, it's about 1.6 billion euros, or roughly 2.1 billion USD. Disclaimer: while Companies House does basic checks on documents ensuring they're fully completed and signed, it doesn't have statutory power of capability to verify their accuracy. So while these records are a strong indicator of how much has been spent, you shouldn't take them as full confirmation. Not that Rockstar or Take-Two will willingly confirm the same if you ask nicely, but I digress. And Star Citizen, which started releasing modules in 2013, the same year that Grand Theft Auto 5 launched, conveniently enough, and Squadron 42 have already cost over 955 million. If these records for Grand Theft Auto 6 are accurate, then just based on developer salaries alone, it would be the most expensive game ever made. And again, that hasn't even factored in marketing or costs spent on support studios. Heck, 21 months have yet to be accounted for. The total may cross 3 billion in wages when all is said and done. However, as of March 2025, about 2.1 billion USD. It's simply mind-boggling, but then again, is it? A former graphics programmer seemingly revealed that they worked on next-generation procedural breakable glass for vehicles and props over the course of 3 years and 2 months, among other things. With reports of all the other technical wizardry that the game will have, a revolutionary new system for real-time physically simulated water, more precise deformations for vehicles, a real-time weather system with heavy gameplay implications. It's not surprising. Then again, there's also that part in the documents about a monthly average of 1,744 employees at Rockstar, which is also an insane number in its own right. They'll get that back in the first week of launch. You're no doubt thinking about that amount, and as incredulous as it sounds, you're not wrong. Just think back to the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, which earned 800 million on its first day and 1 billion in 3. By comparison, the sequel is on a whole other level when it comes to hype. It's been touted as the savior for an industry that's notoriously lagging in both hardware and software sales. It's Take-Two's cash cow for the next decade or so. Amid concerns of rising inflation, global tariffs, and the economy in general, no expense has apparently been spared for Grand Theft Auto 6, just like for Grand Theft Auto 5, and just like for Red Dead Redemption 2. Conveniently, an interview by Kiwi Talks with former audio designer Rob Carr talks about Rockstar's thought process, speaking on technical limitations. Each sound bank has to be X, Y, and Z. These are your limitations for every mission. These are the technical constraints, he said. But creative constraints? There aren't any. Go nuts is apparently how the company operates, which doesn't mean that its teams can logically fit into everything that they want, just that it's easier to dial it down, dial it back, go too much and then strip some fat off than it is to not do enough and then have to push for the extra 5 or 10% at the end of the project, says Carr. Which makes even more sense if Rockstar wants to instead spend that time on bug testing and polishing. Nevertheless, it speaks to how the company has been when developing its games, and Take-Two always gives it that leeway for a reason. Other developers and publishers avoid it for the very same. What would ordinarily inspire outrage in terms of the sheer amount spent on development thus far, especially with criticism over ballooning costs in AAA development, is pretty much a given. Creating an unrealistic standard that the genre has no hope in hell of ever reaching? Par for the course, really. It's almost as if Grand Theft Auto is in a completely different realm that's just plain untouchable, regardless of everything else. Not because this is how games are made, but because that's how Rockstar wants to make them, all else be damned. Now, I'd like to believe spending hundreds of millions doesn't automatically translate into a quality release, much less one that will see the light of day. Look no further than reports of Eidos Montreal canceling a project whose budget apparently blew well past 9 figures. Nor should it be taken as the norm, despite the general direction of AAA games over the past decade or more. Instead, it can be best viewed as Rockstar doing Rockstar things, ensuring that Grand Theft Auto 6 stands out. It will be players' de facto choice when it comes to spending $80, because there is no way it could retail for cheaper after these figures have come to light. It will help justify all those re-releases and special editions, all those double dippers when the PC version rolls around. And maybe that's enough. But really, it's because Rockstar probably doesn't know how else to make games. With less than 9 months before launch, either thought is scary, and we probably can't even imagine to what extent. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.